Today we are comparing Viking Ocean Cruises and Oceania Cruises. We've sailed with Viking several times and have thoroughly enjoyed the adults-only experience without young children or the party-oriented atmosphere that can sometimes come with younger adult crowds. Viking has long been recognised for its adults-only approach, but in January 2026, Oceania Cruises, another premium small ship cruise line, changed its policy so that all new bookings are restricted to guests aged 18 and over. At first, the two cruise lines appear quite similar. Both sit above the mainstream premium cruise lines without offering the fully all-inclusive experience associated with the most expensive luxury brands. They also operate relatively small ships. Viking currently has 13 ocean ships. Most carry 930 passengers, while the newest carry 998. The ships are deliberately similar in design and layout, so the experience is highly consistent across the fleet. Oceania currently operates 8 ships, but they vary much more. Passenger numbers range from approximately 670 on its smallest ships to 1,250 on its largest. So we decided to carry out an in-depth comparison to see which cruise line stacks up best for mature travellers looking for an adults-only cruise, and the results of our research genuinely surprised us. Later in this video we will share our direct comparison spreadsheet covering cabins, dining, drink policies, excursions, entertainment, wellness facilities and passenger numbers. Most importantly, we will compare actual cruise fares and examine what is and what is not included in those prices. By the end, you should have a much clearer idea of which cruise line suits your style of travel. Welcome back to Rob and Nawa Travels. We're not travel agents and we're not trying to sell you either a Viking or Oceania cruise. We compare the details that matter so that you can make a better decision before spending a considerable amount of money. Let's begin with something that cannot be measured easily on a spreadsheet, but could influence your entire cruise: the onboard atmosphere, or what we normally call the vibe. It is the feeling you get when you first step aboard, walk into the lounge and begin talking to your fellow passengers. Viking is probably one of the most recognised names in European river and ocean cruising. For many travellers, it feels like the safe and familiar choice. Viking is consistent, calm and highly organised. Its ships have Scandinavian-style interiors, light colours, uncluttered public spaces and a quiet, adult-focused atmosphere. The passenger mix is generally mature. Viking often attracts couples, retired or semi-retired professionals, and travellers interested in history, culture, architecture, and organised destination touring. That does not mean Viking feels old-fashioned. The ships feel modern and comfortable, but the mood is calm, structured, and distinctly grown up. There is no casino, no art auctions, no formal night, and very little of the noise or commercial activity associated with larger resort-style ships. Oceania is also refined and relaxed, but the atmosphere is different. It has more of a country club casual feeling and retains more features of a traditional cruise experience. These include casinos, cocktail lounges, trivia, live music, production entertainment and a wider selection of evening activities. Oceania attracts a similarly mature and well-travelled audience. So, while both cruise lines now target mature adult travellers, they do not necessarily provide the same atmosphere. Viking offers the quieter, more structured and less commercial experience. Oceania offers a refined, adults-only atmosphere with more traditional entertainment and slightly more social energy. Which of those sounds better will depend entirely on the type of cruise you enjoy. At the time of our research, Viking operated 13 ocean ships, while Oceania operated 8. But the more important difference is not the number of ships, it is how much they vary. The standard Viking veranda cabin is about 270 square feet, including the balcony. Move up the categories and you mainly get a better location, earlier access to reservations and additional amenities, not a completely different basic cabin design. This consistency makes Viking very easy to understand. If you have sailed on one of its ocean ships, the next one will feel immediately familiar. Oceania offers much more variety. Its 4 regatta-class ships carry about 670 guests. Marina and Riviera carry approximately 1,250. while the newer Vista and Allura carry 1200. The older ships offer inside, ocean view, veranda and suite accommodation. A regatta class veranda is around 216 square feet, whereas the all-veranda Vista and Allura have standard cabins measuring more than 290 square feet. So Oceania can give you a genuinely smaller ship than Viking, a lower priced inside cabin or a larger modern veranda cabin. But you must research the individual ship. Food is where Oceania makes its strongest claim. Oceania places cuisine at the centre of the experience. Specialty dining is included, but restaurant choices depends on the ship. The smaller regatta class ships offer fewer choices, while Allura offers 12 dining venues and culinary outlets. Depending on the ship, these can include Polo Grill, Toscana, Red Ginger, Jack and Aquamar Kitchen. Selected larger ships also have a culinary centre offering hands-on cooking classes. Viking also includes all of its dining without a specialty restaurant surcharge. Its ships offer 8 main dining options, including the restaurant, World Cafe, Manfredi's Italian restaurant, the chef's table, Mamson's and the pool grill. Both cruise lines offer an abundant choice of restaurants to satisfy most tastes, and neither requires passengers to pay additional specialty dining charges. Both cruise lines offer open seating dining, so there is no requirement to eat at the same table or at the same time every evening. Specialty restaurants generally require reservations, and the availability may depend on your cabin category and how early you book. Both also include 24-hour room service. Overall, we think Oceania has a slight edge on dining options. This is where the comparison becomes more complicated because the two cruise lines package their inclusions differently. Viking includes Wi-Fi, all onboard dining, beer, wine and soft drinks with lunch and dinner, and tea, coffee and bottled water throughout the day. It also includes one complimentary shore excursion in every port, self-service laundry and access to the Nordic Spa. However, normal gratuities are usually additional if using the US website, but included if using the UK or Australian website for Viking. Viking currently recommends $20 per person per night for gratuities. Oceania includes specialty dining, shipboard gratuities, Wi-Fi, non-alcoholic drinks, 24-hour room service, self-service laundry and complimentary fitness classes. Passengers then choose between 2 additional amenities when booking: wine and beer by the glass during lunch and dinner hours, or a shore excursion credit. The value of that credit can vary according to the voyage and promotion. In the 10-day sample booking used for our comparison, Oceania offered a $300 shore excursion credit per stateroom. Any unused portion can be converted into non-refundable shipboard credit for use during the same voyage. It can be applied toward eligible onboard purchases, including beverage packages, but cannot be refunded as cash or carried over to another cruise. However, $300 may not go very far if you want to book an Oceania excursion in every port. Oceania's excursion prices vary considerably, but basic panoramic walking or large group tours can begin at approximately $80 per person. These entry-level tours provide the fairest comparison with Viking's included excursions, which are generally introductory walking tours, panoramic coach tours, or cultural overviews. Let's consider a 10-day cruise with 8 opportunities to take an excursion. At $80 per person, 8 basic Oceania excursions would cost $640 for one passenger, or $1,280 for a couple. After deducting the $300 stateroom credit, the couple could still pay approximately $980 to take a basic Oceania excursion in each port. That is a substantial additional expense and needs to be considered when comparing the true value of the two cruise lines. We'll return to this figure later when we compare the actual cruise fares. Now let's compare the premium drink packages. Viking's Silver Spirits package costs $27 per person per day. It covers most beers, wines, spirits and cocktails priced up to $18 and can be used throughout the day. For a couple on a 10-day cruise, the package would cost $540. If we also add Viking's suggested gratuities of $20 per person per night, that adds another $400. The combined cost of Viking's premium drink package and suggested gratuities would therefore be approximately $940 for a couple on a 10-night cruise. Oceania's Prestige Select Drink Package costs $79.95 per person per day. However, passengers who choose the included wine and beer amenity can upgrade to the Prestige Select for half price. For a couple on a 10-day cruise, that discounted upgrade would cost approximately $800. Shipboard gratuities are already included in the Oceania fare. If you choose the shore excursion credit instead of the included wine and beer, you will normally pay the full price for Prestige Select. However, any unused excursion credit converted into shipboard credit could still be applied toward the package. There is also an important difference for passengers who bring their own alcohol aboard. Viking has a generous policy. Passengers can bring their own wine and other alcoholic drinks aboard, and Viking does not charge corkage when personal wine is consumed in its restaurants or public areas. Oceania permits passengers to bring limited quantities of alcohol aboard. However, personal wine consumed outside the stateroom attracts a $25 corkage charge. Personal spirits and beer may only be consumed inside the stateroom. Viking is strongest when entertainment means learning. Its program focuses on destination lectures, resident historians, port talks, cultural performances and classical musicians. Evenings are normally understated. There is no casino and no large high-energy production show environment. Oceania also offers guest speakers and enrichment, but it provides more conventional entertainment as well. Depending on the ship, that can include cabaret, vocalists, headline performers, live bands, trivia, art classes, wine tastings, production shows, and a casino. Viking wins for focused cultural enrichment and peaceful evenings. Oceania wins for entertainment variety and a more sociable after-dinner experience. Viking has a major advantage in this category: complimentary access to the Nordic Spa. This includes a thermal pool, sauna, steam room and snow grotto, as well as the fitness centre. The spa itself is one of the most distinctive and relaxing spaces on Viking's ocean ships. Oceania offers the Aquamar Spa and Vitality Centre, modern fitness facilities and complimentary group classes. Newer ships also have spa terraces, but access can depend on cabin category or treatments purchased. Oceania may offer a broader wellness program, but Viking provides the stronger included thermal spa experience. For wellness facilities included in the standard fare, Viking wins. Neither line should be booked on reputation alone if you use a wheelchair or mobility scooter. Accessible cabins are limited. Tenders can prevent power chairs or scooters from going ashore, and many itineraries involve coach stops, cobblestones and uneven ground. Viking's ships have 2 accessible cabins, and both are penthouse veranda suites. There are no choices for a lower grade stateroom on any Viking ship. Oceania's ships vary more in age, cabin design and layout, so the exact vessel matters even more. On its newer ships, Oceania can offer up to 5 or 6 accessible cabins. Overall, we think Oceania has a slight edge when it comes to accessibility and mobility, but there is not much in it. In our opinion, neither Viking or Oceania is strong when it comes to accessibility. Viking does not currently have dedicated single occupancy cabins on its ocean ships. A solo traveller receives the same veranda cabin as a couple, but Viking's published fares are normally based on 2 people sharing. This means solo passengers can face a substantial single supplement. However, Oceania has invested more directly in solo accommodation. Several of Oceania's ships have up to 14 dedicated solo ocean view staterooms. The newer Vista and Allure also offer solo veranda staterooms, giving solo passengers a private balcony without having to book a cabin designed and priced primarily for 2 people. Oceania also advertises reduced single supplements on selected voyages, sometimes offering savings of up to 50%. On certain capacity-controlled sailings, the supplement can be reduced even further. Availability is limited, so the existence of a solo cabin does not guarantee that it will be cheaper on every cruise. Nevertheless, for dedicated solo accommodation and the likelihood of finding a reduced single supplement, Oceania is the clear winner. Now we come to the part of our research that surprised us most, the price. We began by randomly selecting a Mediterranean cruise from each line in May 2027. We couldn't find identical starting and finishing ports, but both cruises were in the same region during the same month and included 10 nights on board. The first was Oceania Serena's voyage from Venice to Istanbul, departing on the 5th of May and arriving on the 15th. The advertised veranda fare was $8,924 for 2 people. The second was Viking Sea's Greek Odyssey, sailing round trip from Athens from the 14th to the 24th of May. The advertised veranda fare was $17,998 for 2. The Viking fare was $9,074 higher, more than double the Oceania fare. This was the finding that surprised us most. However, one random comparison could simply reflect a particular promotion, departure date, or itinerary. So we checked another 2 sets of cruises. Our second comparison was Alaska. Oceania Riviera sailed round trip from Seattle from the 24th of May to the 3rd of June. The cruise included 10 nights on board, and the advertised veranda fare was $7,574 for 2 people. Viking Venus sails from Vancouver to Seward from the 30th of May to the 9th of June. It also includes 10 nights on board, with an advertised veranda fare of $14,198 for 2. Oceania costs approximately $379 per person per night. Viking costs approximately $710. In this comparison, Viking was $6,624 more expensive for the couple, or approximately 87% more per person per night. Our third comparison returned to the Mediterranean in April 2028. Oceania Allura sails from Barcelona to Rome from the 5th to the 15th of April. The 10-night veranda fare is $10,198 for 2 people. Viking Sea's Greek Odyssey sails round trip from Athens from the 15th to the 25th of April. Its 10-night veranda fare is $14,598 for 2. Oceania cost is approximately $510 per person per night. Viking is $730 per person per night. Viking is therefore $4,400 more expensive for the couple, or approximately 43% more per person per night. So our first random comparison was clearly not an isolated result. All 3 comparisons involved the same number of nights, the same general region and month, and veranda accommodation at the lowest level for 2 people. In every example, Oceania had the lower advertised fare. Viking was between 43 and 102% more expensive per person per night. But, as we have seen many times, the advertised cruise fare does not necessarily reveal the full cost, particularly when drinks, excursions and gratuities are handled differently. So let's return to our first Mediterranean comparison and calculate the cost for 2 different couples. Our first couple does not drink very much. They may have an occasional glass of wine, but they do not need a drinks package. They also prefer exploring independently rather than purchasing an excursion in every port. The Viking fare begins at $17,998. Beer, wine and soft drinks with lunch and dinner are included, so there is no additional drinks cost. One introductory excursion in every port is also included, although this couple may not use all of them. Viking's suggested gratuities are $20 per person per night for 2 people over 10 nights. That adds $400. For Oceania, the starting fare is $8,924 and gratuities are included. The couple would choose a $300 shore excursion credit instead of the complimentary wine and beer option. They could use the credit towards 1 or 2 organised excursions while continuing to explore the remaining ports independently. Provided they did not spend more than the available credit, there would be no additional cash cost. Their total would therefore remain at $8,924. For this couple, Oceania would cost $9,474 less than Viking. The important point is that Viking's included drinks and excursions only provide their full value if they are benefits you genuinely intend to use. At the other end of the scale, let's consider a couple who enjoys drinks outside mealtimes and wants a basic overview excursion in every available port. For Viking, the base fare remains $17,998. The Silver Spirits package costs $27 per person per day. For 2 people over 10 nights, that adds $540. Gratuities add another $400. Viking includes one introductory excursion in every port, so there is no additional excursion cost. The Viking total becomes $18,938. For Oceania, the base fare remains $8,924 and gratuities are included. This couple could select the complimentary wine and beer option, allowing them to upgrade to the Prestige Select package at a 50% discount. That upgrade costs approximately $800 for 2 people over 10 nights. Because they selected the wine and beer amenity, they would not also receive the alternative $300 excursion credit. The Oceania Cruise visits 8 excursion-capable ports, assuming one basic excursion in each port at $80 per person. 8 excursions for 2 passengers would cost approximately $1,280. Even after adding Oceania's upgraded drinks package and 8 excursions for 2 people, Oceania remains approximately $7,934 cheaper. The actual cost of excursions will vary according to the destination and tour selected, but the starting fare difference is large enough that Viking's additional inclusions do not eliminate the price gap in this example. These comparisons do not prove that Oceania will always be cheaper. Cruise fares change according to season, destination, ship, cabin availability, and current promotions. The routes in our examples were also not identical. You should always compare the dates, cabin, and additional options that match your own travel plans. However, all 3 of our 10-night comparisons produced the same overall result. Oceania's advertised veranda fares were substantially lower, and it remained considerably cheaper after we included drinks, excursions, and gratuities for 2 very different types of travellers. The difference is significant enough that anyone considering Viking should also examine Oceania as a possible alternative. To help you make your own decision, we have created a detailed comparison spreadsheet covering the onboard atmosphere, ships, passenger numbers, cabins, solo travel options, dining, drinks, excursion, entertainment, wellness facilities, accessibility, inclusions, and cruise fares. You will find a link to the free spreadsheet in the description below. If you found this comparison helpful, please give the video a like and subscribe to Rob and Nawa Travels for more independent cruise comparisons and practical travel advice. If you have not sailed with Viking before, you may be interested in watching a detailed Viking Mediterranean cruise review next. It provides a complete breakdown of our experience aboard a Viking ocean cruise in the Mediterranean. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.